Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It being 3 o'clock, I will call to order the September 7, 2021 meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority. I will invite all those present to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll now ask the Secretary to call the roll of the board, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Williamson?
Present.
Mr. Lumpkin? Mr. Corrado?
Present.
Mr. Fulenkamp?
Present.
Ms. Hairston? Ms. Byrd?
Here.
Ms. Howard? Ms. Stetson? And Mr. Weckes?
Here.
Thank you. We do have 509 present.
Thank you. The roll having been called, the chair does declare that a quorum is present. The bylaws of the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority require that prior to a meeting of the Board of Trustees, the agenda of the meeting be approved by the board. Prior to today's meeting, a copy of today's meeting agenda was presented for review to all board members. Are there any requested changes or corrections to the agenda or objections to its approval?
Just a question. Are we going to have an executive session?
Yes, there is a request for executive session. Other than that clarification, any other requested changes or objections to approval? Hearing none, the chair will declare the agenda approved as presented. Also, prior to today's meeting, the minutes of the August 3rd, 2021 board meeting were presented for review to all board members. Does any board member request a reading of those minutes or have any requested changes or corrections to the minutes or objections to their approval? Hearing none, the chair will declare the minutes of the August 3rd, 2021 board meeting approved as presented. And we'll move on to committee reports. And as soon as I can find them, here we go. We'll do the Finance and Personnel Committee. Ms. Belinda Matthews Stenson was not able to attend today's meeting. And for the record, Mr. Lumpkin, who would otherwise be in her stead, has declared that he is running late to today's meeting. And so the chair will present the Finance Personnel Committee action item number 2, which is the Ohio Transit Risk Pool Insurance. Over the past year, the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority has experienced a significant increase in the cost of liability and property insurance coverage. For the December 1st, 2020 to November 30, 2021 coverage year, Board Trustees approved a $2.6 million Marsh and McLennan insurance package, which was 53% higher than the previous coverage year. The self-insured retention for liability coverage also increased significantly, going from $100,000 to $500,000. With that in mind, RTA staff looked into other potential coverage options. The Ohio Transit Risk Pool, OTRP, has proposed a liability and property insurance package with increased levels of coverage for December 1st, 2021 through November 30, 2022. A coverage comparison is attached with details, which details the specific lines of coverage, the specific retention levels, and associated cost. OTRP's overall program cost is $1.4 million and includes a retention level of $100,000 for liability coverage. Projected annual savings are equal $1.2 million compared to current coverage cost. The Finance, Personnel, and Planning Committees discussed this item on August 17, 2021, and support the Chief Executive Officer's recommendation to the Board of Trustees. And the Chief Executive Officer recommends the approval of this action item. Before I ask for a motion and a vote, I need to go on record to say that prior to my association on the board, long prior, like 20, 25 years ago, my law firm served as claims counsel to the RTA. Given this new set of circumstances, it may be, although it has not been determined, that my present law firm may be interested in this work in the future. As some of you know, I am destined to retire from my law firm in the upcoming year, but presently that presents me with a conflict of interest. So with that in mind, it will be my intention to abstain from this vote and to make certain that there is no undue influence upon other board members' votes. I will absent myself from the room, and I will ask former President Hurd to ask for the motion and second. I have discussed this with legal counsel prior to today. We have a declared quorum, so the vote would be a majority of those present at a meeting in which a quorum has been declared. So I think we still have the ability to move on it. Chris, do you have something further?
I do. And by the way, it's very hard to see you because of the glare from the screen.
I understand.
I did go through the bylaws and pursuant to Section 2, paragraph F, the requirement for the meeting is, as you stated, a quorum. There are 5 members of the board here who constitute the quorum, and then even though the president is recusing himself, it's the majority vote. So it would require a vote of 3 or more to pass upon motion and second.
Okay, with that said, I will temporarily yield the chair to former President Hurd, and I will absent myself until Mr. Rosinski calls me back into the room.
Just one comment.
Yes, ma'am.
When I make the motion, I'm going to add that additional part that we agreed on in the session. It's not in writing here. That if accepted into the pool, we pre-fund our shock loss.
You're correct. That was something that we had talked about at the committee meeting.
Right.
I leave that in your capable hands.
Okay. Having heard the presentation at this time, I move that the board approve the attached resolution number 2121-9-1, approving and authorizing the execution of bylaws of membership into the Ohio Transit Risk Pool. Pardon me. And if accepted into the pool, that we pre-fund our shock loss. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it has been properly moved and seconded that we take the above-mentioned action. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The ayes have it, the motion has been accepted. Would you
We'll
call
note
them
that
back
one
in, please?
abstention.
Oh, was there any question or discussion?
Did you include the amendment? I'm going to just be clear for the record. that
Yeah,
You
that
have
was
the
the full
amendment?
motion included that. Because we accepted the amendment to it previously.
Very well. Thank you, Ms. Hurd. Now I've lost my place to see if there was a further report from the Finance Committee. Here we go. I'm going to ask some help from either the secretary or as to where in my materials is the Finance Committee report. We've done the action item. Ah, very good. That's what I thought. Okay. The other item to mention with regard to the Finance Personnel Committee is that Ms. Stanforth reported on July financial performance and current sales tax receipts. We continue to see positive results with both, which ultimately will allow a smoother economic recovery post-COVID. RTA is positioned to restore the unrestricted net position shortfall, which was caused by the state pension system funding liability. And that concludes the Finance Personnel Committee report. All right, that then takes us to the Planning Committee. And in Chair Sharon Howard's absence, Mr. Fulenkamp will be presenting that report.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance and Personnel and Planning Committee met for a jointly held meeting on August 17th, and as a result, the Planning Committee is recommending one action item for the board's consideration. Action item number 3, temporary service adjustments. Mr. Polachicchio explained that the RTA, in response to a severe current shortage of bus route operators, along with decreased customer demand due to COVID-19, is recommending temporary service adjustments that would impact the agency's service hours and bus routes. On Thursday, August 12th, 2021, the RTA conducted public hearings to discuss the proposed temporary service adjustments and collect community feedback. The final proposed adjustments were determined based on analysis of ridership on routes, specific trips, time periods experiencing low ridership, and review of all public comments received. Maintaining basic geographic service coverage were also priorities in the final design of the service adjustments. Based on community feedback received, RTA is proposing to preserve current Route 14 frequencies and alter the originally proposed reduction in overall service hours. Implementation is planned for Sunday, October 3rd, 2021. And the final proposed temporary service adjustments are as follows. Service hours. Fixed route and paratransit service hours Monday through Saturday from 5:30 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. Fixed route and paratransit service hours Sunday from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Route eliminations, routes 64, 65, and 66. Mr. Polachicchio provided a detailed presentation at our committee meeting, and the supporting information is included in today's board package. Mr. Polachicchio is available to answer any questions you, the board, may have. Okay. Based on the recommendation of the Planning Committee, I move to approve the temporary service adjustments to be effective October 3rd, 2021. Furthermore, that the Chief Executive Officer be authorized to do all things necessary to implement the temporary service adjustments.
I'll second.
Okay, motion has been properly made and seconded. Is there any additional comments, questions, or discussions? I will make one, and that is that it is certainly my comprehension that staff took into consideration all of the statements that were made at last month's board meeting and all of the input that came from the public hearings that were held outside of this boardroom, and worked very hard under very difficult circumstances to come up with these service adjustments. I'll say what I've said before. This board is not in favor of cutting service. But we have a dilemma on our hands, and that is we don't have enough drivers, period. And so we have to make adjustments. And that's my only comment on the motion pending before the floor. And I would ask if there are any others prior to calling for a vote.
I guess I would just add that, we are these are temporary. So, as said.
Thank you for pointing that out, Tom. Yes, the action item is temporary service adjustments. That's a good point to make. Okay, with those comments then, I would ask that all those in favor of the motion please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Any abstentions? Okay, the motion carries by a unanimous voice vote, and action item number 3, the temporary service adjustments, is approved.
Thank you. At the committee meeting, Mr. Polachekio also provided a summary document of recent activities in the Customer and Business Development Department. And this concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Fullenkamp. That brings us to our Chief Executive Officer's report. Mr. Rosinski.
I did want to publicly share, and I know I've shared with the board members, that we did lose an operator just over a week ago to COVID-19. He had started with us about 12 years ago and then left and then came back and worked really hard to get his CDL, and he was a really good guy. One of the last communications he had with us was that he was looking forward to getting his vaccination once he recovered because he should have done it earlier. And sadly, he didn't get that chance. I also had the, there's not a good word for it, but honor, to attend Mark's wife's funeral. She died of pancreatic cancer, as you well know. I did stay for the whole service. It was very difficult but moving, and he seems to be doing the best that he can. I did reach out to him today to let him know that OPTA, which is the Ohio Public Transit Association group, is holding their annual meeting next week. And he had been nominated and approved for a Lifetime Achievement Award several months ago. When I reached out to OPTA to find out if Mark was going, I had some crickets, so there was a little snafu where Mark wasn't even aware.
Yeah.
So he was aware as of today, and he will be attending with his son, so I think that's a nice sign. And I asked OPTA if I could present that award to him, and they have agreed, so.
This is in Columbus?
This will be in Akron this year.
Oh, okay.
So I'm greatly looking forward to Akron, sure, that's my line. So that's really all I have to share.
All right. Thank you, Bob. Is there any old business to bring before the board today? Hearing none, we do have an item of new business, and I will turn to our nominating committee chair, Mr. Corrado.
Okay, I do have a report to present, and this is the report of the Greater Dayton RTA 2021-2022 Nominating Committee submitted to the board this day. In accordance with the RTA bylaws, the board's nominating committee, consisting of Sharon Howard, Al Follenkamp, and myself, acting as chair, wish to nominate for a second term David P. Williams as president and John A. Lumpkins as vice president for the calendar year 2021-2022. The newly re-elected officers shall be voted on today, September 7th, and installed at the October 5th Board of Trustees meeting. The officers shall be tasked with establishing chairs for each of the board's committees, planning, finance, and investment, as well as member assignment for each committee. Again, we want to thank Mr. Williamson and Mr. Lumpkin for their past service and continued willingness to serve a second term for the upcoming calendar year. There is still much work to be done as we meet the normal challenges in progressing RTA's mission, vision, and core values of safety, stewardship, and quality service, along with the continuing challenges of COVID-19 and the Delta variant. So please know that your leadership and continued involvement are very much appreciated and is significant as we move the RTA agenda into next year. So I would make that in the form of a motion.
And I will second it.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to approve the nomination of myself and Mr. Lumpkin for another one-year terms as president and vice president. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, I will ask all those in favor of the motion to please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Any abstentions? Motion carries, nominations are approved, and we will look forward to our coronation come October meeting. So, all right. Any other new business? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to our public comment, and we do have some requests for public comment. Two to be exact. And again, I will tell anyone wishing to address the board, you must speak on your own behalf. After you are recognized to speak, you must come to the lectern, or if physically unable, a handheld microphone will be brought to you. Please state your name and address first, and after doing so, you will then have 3 minutes to make your comments. When 30 seconds remain, is the light working today? Do we know? Okay. When 30 seconds remain, a yellow light will come on, and when the 3 minutes are up, the red light will come on, signaling you to cease speaking and surrender the microphone. The first person to speak is Sandra Smothers. And good afternoon, Ms. Smothers.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandra May Smothers. I live at 215 McDaniel Street, apartment 207, Dayton, Ohio. And I am a citizen of Montgomery County, been here all my life. And I'm here to let you guys know today, you have made a big mistake taking this Route 65, 64, and 66 away from the seniors. What are we supposed to do, and how are we supposed to get to the grocery store? You got a lot of handicapped people that ride from Hope Villa, VA, you got vets, you got a lot of people. And on my side at 65, we got a lot of people that ride. It doesn't make sense to pull our route. Y'all can pull any other route, but you couldn't pull, you took from us. And that's not right. And we don't appreciate it. And I'm gonna fight with you. I'm not through, it's not over yet. So I'm gonna fight with you, and Brandon, I hate to say it, you shouldn't have did it. But I am sick and tired of this mess, taking from seniors. We are old people, we done paid our debt. Y'all supposed to provide a service from RTA for us. And not just the seniors, everybody. People ain't gonna be able to get home from work. 12:30 lineup, I used to ride in on that 12:30 lineup myself when I was working. Now people ain't gonna be able to get home. People gonna be losing their jobs on account of all this mess. Y'all can't keep no drivers because the people don't wanna work anymore. And then when you hire them, they work for a little while, then they quit. It doesn't make sense. These drivers don't wanna work anymore. They have, your mobility drivers, they about burn out. And I ride the mobility service. And sometimes I don't want to ride it. I prefer getting picked up in front of my door on 65. Tuesdays and Thursdays is my shopping days. But now y'all gonna take it from us. But I'm sorry to say y'all have made the biggest mistake of y'all's life. It don't take but one driver to drive that easy ride, a regular driver. The one we have a regular driver now. And we appreciate her. But enough is enough. I've never seen nothing like this in all the days I've rode RTA. I'm telling you, I've never seen nothing like this. But y'all do what y'all do. Y'all remember one thing, y'all gonna get old one day and you're gonna need that senior easy ride yourself if you're on that route. And that's all I have to say for now. I'm gonna leave that with you.
Thank you, Ms. Saunders. Again, my only comment is we continue to look for solutions. And you have eloquently stated our frustrations. Your frustrations are our frustrations. Okay, the second person who signed up is Melissa, is it Manschke?
I'm Melissa Munsky, 215 McDaniel Street, apartment 715. I don't exactly know how to follow that. She said a lot of what was on my mind, and then some. I never expected when I was growing up to end up being, well, senior, whoever expects that, but also disabled, to have my family all be gone, to be low income. Life can throw some funny things at you that you just don't expect and you don't see coming. And you guys could all end up where we are, you just don't know. But we do need help. And it's hard. It is hard to get help. I think I work harder sometimes as a poor person just to try and keep going and keep trucking and keep getting what I need to survive. And then I did when I was working full-time and had more options. It's hard, and to take the bus away, you're making it that much harder for a lot of people. So I hope you'll think about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mansky. Again, my only comment to all of the folks who have commented today is Mr. Weckeser's comment as we voted these adjustments that they are temporary. And we're keeping all fingers and toes crossed that temporary means temporary. And and we are working to solve this problem of getting more drivers. Okay, I do not have any other requests for public comment. And with that in mind, I would ask if there are any additional board member comments or announcements, starting down with Mr. Weckeser and proceeding eastbound.
No comments.
I don't have any.
I have nothing further.
Nothing.
Okay, no public, or no board member comments. There is a request for executive session to discuss a matter of labor negotiations. And so I will ask the secretary, first of all, Chair will move that the board retire into executive session.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Hurd. Could we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Williamson,
Yes.
Mr. Corrado,
Yes.
Mr. Fulenkamp,
Yes.
Ms. Byrd,
Yes.
you have 5 yes.
All right. The motion having been approved, carried and approved, the board will retire into executive session. There will be no further business when we reconvene into regular session. Those of you who are here are welcome to stick around, but again, there will be no further business other than adjourning the regular session.